What's going on, everybody? It is Natasha Watkins, your favorite realtor, and it is the time of the week again. It is Monday, so it's time for that Monday market report. You know what we do? We go over, we talk a little bit about the what the analysts are saying. We have a really, really good one for you today. For all my Gen Zers out there, this one it's for you. We're going to talk a little bit about affordability. We talked a little bit about affordability and some of the options that builders were taken advantage of last week in terms of building smaller homes and making these homes a little bit more affordable for the everyday buyer. But we want to see how that's affecting the Gen Z. So let's get right into it. Okay, will Gen Zs be able to afford to buy a home? We're hearing everything that's going on in the media and everything that they're saying that's not in the most positive light. But we want to actually go in and break down and take a look at this and see what some of the analysts have come up with. When we talk about Gen Zers, we're talking about that generations between 1997 and 2012. So kind of somewhere between, 10 to 24, if we're going to give a rough estimate. And of course, we know 10-year-olds are not buying homes. But when we look about going into 20, 22, 23, 24, this is when the time period, people are starting their lives, and maybe your first property is that option for you. We look at the United States population, and this is just breaking down what that looks like. When we look at Gen Z, they make up about 20% of the population, while millennial make up about 21. Gen X make up about 19, close to 20%. I'm a Gen X, so you got to represent. And of course, baby boomers make up about 20% of the population. So they're making up a fair amount of the population. Again, we're not saying that all of them are in that home buying range right about now, that the whole 20% is making up that whole buyer range. We're just saying that this is just the overall population of Gen Zs. And we know that they're going to be in that buying range sooner or later. Now, I love this chart. And this chart, we're based in New York. And of course, $2,000 for rent does not seem that bad. But these are national numbers. When we look from 2019 to 2021, we see almost or a little less than double what payments look like. We went from 1,000 to about 2,000. So that's very interesting. We're seeing a little bit of, we're seeing a lot higher prices when we talk about what that monthly payment is going to look like, and that's including principal and interest as well. So this is interesting by Chase. The turbulent economy for the last few years has left more than a few people wondering, will Gen Z be able to afford homes? The short answer and good news is probably yes. Despite potential trepidation surrounding home ownership, first-time home buyers who were born between 1997 and 2012 may have cause for optimism. And again, I just want to preface this. We're seeing a lot of negativity in the news, and we know news, they're here to sell. They're here to push the news, and we know that drama sells a lot more than positivity. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind as well when we look at the forecast and when we see the headlines, just stating that, the world is coming to an end. We're falling off that cliff. The path to Gen Z home ownership may be its own shares of challenges. And again, we don't want to say that it's not going to be difficult for Gen Zs to own their own home. It's going to be as easy as it was for the baby boomers and everything like that. But it's still cause for optimism, even with the high prices, But that's not stopping Gen Z, nicknamed Zoomers, from buying homes. In fact, some Gen Z real estate trends are pointing in an optimistic direction. According to the recent study from major real estate brokerage, about 30% of 25-year-olds own their own home. And we're not saying that everybody is going to own their own home, but 30% is a good number. in 2022. That's 2 to 3% ahead of millennials and Gen Xers. And like 2 to 3% ahead of us, we can't let that happen. But that's a good sign. 2 to 3 at this particular time and point in their lives, 2 to 3% ahead of Gen X's and also millennials. That's definitely a good sign. Okay, 2023 shares of all buyers and sellers who were Gen Z. So it's about 3% buyers, 2% sellers as well. So small numbers, but it's still optimistic. Tips for Gen Zs. And again, we want to preference this, just saying like, look, these are just guidelines to get you in that position for when you're ready to purchase the home. Again, up your financial literacy. This goes across the board for everybody, Put in the time, study, figure out your financial literacy, figure out, I think a really good book, and one of my favorite books that I've read was The Richest Man in Babylon, and that kind of really changed the way that I look at the perspective in terms of how to manage money. Again, start saving. You may not be in a position now, but if you start now, start early, start to save. And that's one of the key into home ownership. I think one of the biggest challenge for most people is not the monthly payment and can they afford these monthly payments. I think the biggest challenge is the closing costs and the down payment. When I look at a lot of people who are looking to purchase their first home, when we break down the monthly payment, it may be a little bit higher than what they're paying in terms of rent and everything like that, but it's affordable. They may have to trim back in certain areas. Most of the times, that's not the barrier to entry is the monthly payment. Or the affordability, let's put it that way. That's not the barrier to entry. I think one of the biggest barriers to entries for most people is when we look at those numbers in terms of closing costs and down payment. I think that's the biggest challenge for most people in terms of buying a home. Also, keep an open mind. I like this one a lot. Maybe it's not necessarily your dream home. Maybe it doesn't have everything that you want. It doesn't check all those boxes, but it gets you into that position where you're no longer paying off somebody else's mortgage. You're now building equity for yourself. And that's one of the big benefits to owning a home is that we're paying into this asset and we can get a return back on that. Whether or not we need to upsize as our family grow, we get to downsize as we retire and take out a little bit of money. And we've seen what's been happening with real estate. And I don't think the trend is going to stop anytime soon. I don't see a huge pullback coming in the price of real estate anytime soon. And then this is the most and final. And then also keep an open mind in terms of maybe we need to put in a little bit of sweat equity in our first homes. Maybe we need to do, I don't think we're going to say your first home is going to be a full-on gut job, but maybe we need to do a little bit of painting or we need to do a little bit of patchwork here and there, something that needs a little bit of lipstick love, where we can upgrade a little bit in terms of lipstick love and then also upgrade over time. Everything doesn't have to happen today. You can actually upgrade your home over time. So I want you guys to keep an open mind with that. Sometimes the ugly duckling can turn into the princess. That was kind of corny, but whatever. And then also do your research. Figure out what's out there. I think a lot of times people don't realize that there's these programs, the grants and everything like that. I want to say, and then I'm going to have Peter Carlin come on and touch base on this sometime soon. There's a new program out there, 0% down. He'll get into it. I'm still doing my research on it, but it's a great opportunity for people to get into real estate as well. All right, let's keep it pushing. The path to home ownership may not be a straightforward one for Gen Z, but it is undoubtedly in reach. By adopting the right strategies like exploring down payment assistance program, and again, we spoke a little bit about that before, down payment assistance programs, and then also buy downs as well. You may have a little bit, you may be able to do a seller's concession. It's a little bit tougher in this market to get something like that done, but if we shop around and we take our time and do our due diligence, I'm guessing that I'm positive that we can figure out a way to finance a deal for you. Sharing the costs, sharing living costs with relatives, you can bring your dream of owning a home closer to reality. Don't forget to engage a reliable mortgage expert to guide you through this exciting journey. Your dream home is closer than you think. Again, you want to connect with the experts, to figure out if there's any special programs that we're doing. Again, we're going to touch base on that new program that came out with zero money down and everything like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say there's also a $15,000 grant that goes along with that program. So there's a lot of ways out there that the government and different people are trying to help get people into home ownership. All right. Some Gen Zers expect to receive a cash gift. More than one third, 36% of Gen Zers and millennials who plan to buy a home soon expect to receive a cash gift from family to help fund their down payment. This is amazing. This is where generational wealth comes in. This is where you, as a parent or a grandparent or anything like that, we need to help out that younger generation. And this is according to Redfin. All right. Down payment assistance programs. So you guys got to do your research and explore these down payment assistance programs because these can help open the doors for you. I know there's a couple of programs right now, and you guys can touch base with me, and I can introduce you to some of our lenders that have some exciting programs that are coming out. And can be the key. I know there's a couple that's going to do $15,000 to $20,000 in terms of grants and different things like that. You just want to connect with a quality lender and then also you want to interview multiple lenders as well because they don't all have the same programs. You want to figure out, and these are people that you're putting on your team. You're assembling a team when you're looking to purchase a home. These are people that you're putting on your team, so you want to interview as many people as possible. At their core, Gen Z still aspires to home ownership. That would happen later for them because housing affordability is a challenge. And we want to end right there because that's the reality. Home ownership is going to be a challenge for Gen Z. It's not an impossibility, but it's a challenge. It just comes down to the actions that we're going to take right now, whether it's the saving portion, whether it's the portion where we're doing our researches, or we're taking advantage of these home assistance programs, which are really, really big opportunity. Again, we're going to touch base on, we're going to do an interview with Peter Carlin. He has a new program that's coming out, zero money down. I haven't gotten all the information yet, but as soon as I get all the information, I'll be able to relay it to you guys. Again, this is Atasha Watkins, your favorite realtor, and thank you for joining me on another Monday for these analysis on this Monday Market Report. We'll see you guys next Monday. Peace.